Hey homeschoolers, I'm Melissa Webb, former full-time classroom teacher and homeschool mom turned full-time business CEO. I am determined and dedicated to helping you in this journey that you're on. Yes, I want to give you sound, educational, practical tips and advice, at the same time making sure that you're enjoying the family journey that you are on. So if you are looking for a place to be encouraged and inspired, you have found the perfect podcast. Homeschooling is a work of heart is truly the perfect place to start. So welcome. Let's jump in. Well, hey there, friends, and welcome back to Homeschool as a Work of Heart. I appreciate that you are back again, or maybe you're visiting for the first time. Welcome. So glad you're here. Now, I am all for emotional awareness. I think social emotional learning certainly has its place, and that we can learn a great deal through the use of emotions. But what comes first? Is it the why did you do that? Meaning, why did you say that or act that way? How are you feeling? Versus the what you need to do now that you made a poor choice. The what teaches a child what to do next. And I would say both matter, but I think the order matters most. The feelings awareness should be redirecting behavior, not replacing it. Your emotions matter, sure, but they shouldn't run the show. And that's where I feel for some people, the gentle parenting has crossed that very thin line. So I thought we could talk about it. Kind of this difference between teaching our children self-control versus building their high self-esteem. Because I'll tell you, I will take a student with high self-control over high self-esteem any day of the week. And that goes against culture, because culture today says that when children feel confident, then they'll have a strong character. But that is not true. If you go and look at some research on this, the truth is that a character builds confidence. We have the order backwards. So I hope you are ready to stick with me as we spend some time talking and thinking about this relationship between self-control and self-esteem. So let's start by defining the difference between the two of these things. When we are focused on self-esteem, I'm going to start with self-esteem because I think that's probably like the trigger that I hear most often. Like, we're really just working to build our child's self-esteem. When we focus on building that, in our minds, we're thinking things like, I just really want my child to feel good about who she is, which sounds lovely, right? But if we're focusing first instead on teaching self-control, we think, I want my child to do good. It isn't about feeling good as much as it is action-based. I want my child to do good, even when they don't feel good. And I'll give you an example. I was thinking about a spelling bee. We used to host the annual spelling bee at my school years ago, and I always loved the spelling bee time. It was a lot of fun. And kids would work really, really hard. And of course, everybody wants to win, but there's only one winner. And so I wanted to just take you there in our imaginations and just imagine your daughter is in the spelling bee and she is in the final round and gets a word that she misspells and she loses. And she's heartbroken, of course. And you know in your heart how hard she tried. Like, you are feeling her feels. You know how much she studied. You're watching her. You're seeing her eyes filling with tears. She comes off the stage at the end and she looks at you. She's like, that word that I got was unfair. Now, a parent who's just focused on her self-esteem and wanting her to feel better would likely say, it was unfair. Oh my goodness, I can't believe you got that word. That was totally unfair. And you were so amazing. You should have won, honey. And you would have won. You totally would have won if you'd gotten that other word. Now, maybe that would soothe the sting of loss for a moment. Like, yeah, I am pretty great. But it also stops any potential learning. Whereas if we go back and we focus instead on first the self-control, that parent more likely would be kneeling down beside her daughter, and you might say, "Oh, I know it hurts to lose when you have tried so hard. I get it. Here, I want us to take a breath together. Let's take a breath. Okay. You know what we're going to do? We're going to go congratulate the winner now. That's the right thing to do. Let's go." And then you pick her back up and you're like, "Let's go over there, dry your tears." Now she's practicing composure. She's practicing humility. She's practicing empathy. And I believe those are the roots of real confidence. Do you hear the difference? So it's something I want us just to focus on and think about throughout this next week. I think if we put character first, we would see that confidence would naturally flow. And to do that, we want to praise what our children are doing, not who they are. So I really want us to think action. Keep action-based mindset for yourself. I'll give you another example. Let's say you and your kids are baking cookies in the kitchen, and your son accidentally spills the flour, knocks it over. It's like all over the counter, and he freezes. He's looking at his sister. He's looking at you like, did she see? Could I blame this on my sister? But then he looks back at you and he's like, "I did that, Mom. I will clean it up." And he grabs the sponge. Now, this is what I would call a magical mini lesson moment. This is the stuff I live for. This is great. It's in these little moments that you have big opportunities. So instead of just being like, "Oh, it's fine. I've got it. You're such a good helper." We're not going to focus on who he is. Yes, he's a great kid, obviously. Like, what a great decision. What you want to say, what you want to point out is to look at him and be like, "Hey, I just noticed something. I noticed you caught yourself before blaming your sister for that spill. You took the responsibility. Then you grabbed that sponge and you got working cleaning it up. You know what? You make good decisions." Do you notice how that's all based on the actions that he did? You're not trying to be like, "You're such a sweetheart." Yeah, sure he is. But if we really want to build strong character traits, we have to point out the character traits that are just the beautiful ones that we want them to hang on to. From that, their confidence is going to grow. We didn't label him a good brother or a kind person. Nope, we noticed his actions. We noticed the choices he made. And when we can tell our kids, "Those are good choices you're making," then our kids walk away not just feeling good about himself. He will naturally, but he's also going to see why he felt that way, what it was, what those actions were. So again, just notice what's coming out of your mouth, what you're saying to your kids, and ask yourself, am I choosing verbs or am I choosing adjectives when I'm talking to my kids about what I'm noticing? You want to use more verbs, more action words. You're going to want to say things like, "Hey, I saw that you chose to da-da-da," or "I see that you are waiting for your turn," or "I noticed you helped." Okay? We want to make those observations instead of just tossing adjectives out all the time. Like, "You're so smart, honey. You're just such a brave kid. Oh, I love your kind heart." Those are great. And yes, I could see how they could build the self-esteem, but I just don't think that's the most important job as a parent. I think the real important thing is building their character. And character is built in the small moments, like the spelling bees and the cookie spills and the little times like that. The other thing I just want to point out is that these are things you can practice ahead of time. So when you're thinking, yes, this is something we need to work on, I want my child to be better at self-control, then you want to talk about this even before situations arise. Because when children realize that they have the ability to make a good decision in any situation, we do start to empower them. So, for example, do you have a child who frequently interrupts during conversations that you're having? Okay, it's very common. Ahead of time, you would let your child know, hey, you know what we're going to practice? We're going to practice what's called self-control. And you're going to do just that. You're going to control yourself. And so a lot of times when I'm talking at the park with my friend, you come over and you just start talking and we are interrupted and we have to stop our thoughts because we're putting all of our attention on you and I want you to practice self-control. So if you want to come over and interrupt, let's decide on a signal. So maybe she stands close to you or she puts her hand on top of your hand and whatever signal you have, but you know that this means she would like to say something, but she is choosing self-control and she is not going to interrupt you. That's a big deal. And don't wait long. Kids are very impatient people. But once you say, oh, did you want to share something? And then she can tell you what it is. And either then or maybe even later on, you go to those action words. Sweetheart, I noticed that you waited so patiently today. That was some seriously good self-control. You've got this. I mean, you just need these practical applications. I have a couple more. If you have a child that often bursts out in anger, again, ahead of time, talk about we're going to practice something. We're going to practice self-control. And when you feel angry, I want you to first say these 3 words. Let me think. Just 3 words. And you're going to have to practice this. That ability to have enough self-control to be like, okay, I'm not going to yell. I'm just going to say, let me think. And you may see the anger's there, but again, you want to compliment the behavior. Notice how it's going to slow that reactivity. It's going to give your child just this action to practice that just gives them that little bit of breathing room. Practice those kind of things. And if your child blows his lid after the mistake, just quickly guide them to fix it and don't dwell on it. You could just say, hey, you yelled at grandma. I want you to say that you're sorry for yelling at grandma. Let's try this again. And then give it another try. And if it was the 3 words, let me think, put it into practice and get grandma on board so that grandma knows, hey, we're having some outbursts right now. This is what we're working on. His 3 words should be, let me think, when he feels angry or frustrated. And then grandma's going to come right alongside and help. I mean, that's just what families typically do. And I can't leave you without mentioning this. Do not forget to model out loud. It's so important that our kids hear us regulate our own thinking and our own emotions. If you're on the computer and it's not working and you're getting frustrated, rather than slamming something or yelling or cursing, you could say, knowing that your kids could hear you, this frustrates me. Own it. I'm going to take a deep breath, or do you want to go for a walk? I think I want to just get some fresh air, or you know what? I'm going to shut this down and I'm going to work on this tomorrow. Let your kids watch you process and see how you model self-control. What I am noticing in today's world is I'm becoming this older and wiser woman, this teacher with much experience, mother, and even a grandmother now myself. What I'm noticing is that self-esteem is what makes our kids feel good in a moment, but self-control will help our children do better tomorrow with each decision that they make. And I think that's a greater gift that we can give them, because one day our kids are going to face moments when no one is there to praise them or to even comfort them or to fix whatever goes wrong. But if they have been taught and they have learned self-control, they will already carry what they need, which is a quiet strength in their character to then choose what's right, even when it's hard. I have watched enough children grow up to know this. Self-control is a gift that keeps giving. It builds patience and empathy and dignity. And don't you think that those are really the markers of maturity? The world has plenty of self-esteem, plenty of entitlement these days. We are not lacking in these areas. But do you know what we do need? We need people who know how to lead themselves with self-control and good, strong character. So let's raise those kinds of people. Right on. Well, thanks so much for tuning in and listening this week. Hey, if this was something that you found valuable, don't forget you want to subscribe or follow so that every time a new episode is dropped, you'll be the first to know. And hey, before you go, if you are looking to get some of this academic writing under your belt and outsourced so that it's one less thing, freeing you up to enjoy more time with your family, hey, you're going to want to head over to writeonweb.com to see what kinds of resources and materials I have available for you. I will look forward to seeing you there, and I will look forward to seeing you here in our next episode. Right on.